Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. This is your Premier League and overall season predictions for Manchester United. A little bit of a preview as well to Arsenal with the one and only Ricky and Mordzs. I've got one to the right, one to the left, and as I would say, it is good to be back. The season is upon us. Everyone's super excited. Everyone's buzzing about pre-season, about the new signings. I mean, guys, how excited are we for the season?
I'm one game a week, we're going to be cooking. Yeah, we're going to be cooking the Premier League, so I'm excited. I'm as well, new signings, I really want to see what they're going to do at Old Trafford. So yeah, I'm hopeful for the season.
Mordzs has already said 21.
Yeah.
I'm joking. Hey, if we sign Belieber, who knows?
You never know.
Joking. But Ricky?
More excited than I have been for some time at the start of a season. More excited than I have been for ages. Really looking forward to it.
Well, that's great to hear because, Ricky's always the realist upon us. You like to tell us how it is. And I know you were a little bit unsure on Amorim last season, but is this pre-season give you a little bit of hope? Have the signings give you a little bit of hope?
The signings, that's what I'm excited about, really. I mean, especially the three attacking players that he signed, it's just really gives us a great chance of scoring goals in games, gives us a great chance of getting the first goal in games, which we don't do often enough. And once you do get that first goal, obviously, goals change games, as they say. So I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Brand new front three, eh?
A brand new front three, yeah.
Must have needed an upgrade. I mean, let's get straight into it. The pre-season's got everyone excited, but you can't get too carried away. But based off what we've seen, based off the signings we've made, it's finally time to do it, guys. Let's go through. Before we do our Premier League predictions, we're predicting loads of stuff today, so make sure you get your predictions in the comments as well. I'm sure at the end of the season, this is going to be great to look back on. Hopefully, we'll be looking back on it thinking, I can't believe we did as well as we did. But we're going to be talking about where Amorim should be. Has he got any excuses left not to be getting Champions League football? Where do we think we're going to finish? Where's realistic? Where do we hope to get? But first off, we've got to start by winning our first game at Old Trafford against Arsenal, who haven't looked great in pre-season. But what team should Amorim pick to do that? What team would we pick? Let's get straight into it. So, it is rumoured that Andre Onana is going to be back to start this game. Would you guys still go with him?
Yeah. To me, the reason why I say yeah is more based on the fact that Binder's just not convinced me that he's going to do anything special in any game. So for me, it's like, it is a risk because it's Onana, and Onana is a risk in general. But is it better taking a risk and putting Binder in? And from what I've seen anyway, especially in pre-season, he could easily make a mistake. It's not really worth it. So I'll just put Onana in there.
Binder isn't for me. Binder's bottom of my list. But Tom Heaton says hi, Ricky.
I'll probably go with Onana.
I think we've got to. I think we've got to be honest. Ideally, we would have liked a new keeper in. Hopefully, we do still sign one. But if Onana's there to start the season, I think he's the strongest choice to go with.
Yeah.
Next up, we have right-sided centre-back.
Go on, Rick.
I think we're going here with what we think the manager's going to pick.
What would I do? What would you do?
If fit, I'd go with De Ligt.
Right-sided centre-back De Ligt?
Yeah.
Who would you go right-sided centre-back, Mordzs?
I'll go Lenny Yoro. Lenny Yoro, right-sided centre-back. He could go either side, but I'm going to put a different player on the left-hand side. So for the right-hand side, I'm going to say Lenny Yoro because he has to play regardless. I'm
also going to go Lenny Yoro right-hand side. That's what I'm going to do. I think he can, like you said, I think he can play all three positions, but I would go for him with my first starting lineup. I would go with him on the right. Okay, now we move into central centre-back. I'll start with you, Mordzs, on this one. Who are you going centre?
Same as Rick, I'm going to put a De Ligt in central centre-back. Not because he could have played on the right, I agree, he could probably play both positions, but because I'm putting Lenny Yoro on the right, I think De Ligt, and to be fair, I feel like he's had quite a few good games in the central centre-back position anyway, and going forward, I feel like that'll be his more secure position, so I'd rather put him there than put him on the right or left.
Hopefully he's fit enough to play, but if he is fit enough to play, I'm absolutely going De Ligt as well.
Yeah.
I say absolutely, it's actually quite a tough choice between him and Maguire. I think Maguire has done really well in certain games, and I think the trouble is with the back three for me is we could probably field two really good back threes, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
You want people to be competing for the places and you want a strong defence, and I think that was probably our strongest area of the pitch last season. But I would just go for De Ligt. I think overall he's probably going to be stronger on a more consistent basis, and his future is United. Harry Maguire, I think, can step in multiple games. You definitely trust him to start games, but I think I'd edge towards De Ligt. Ricky, who's your central centre back?
Harry Maguire.
Harry Maguire. Thought it would be. So you've got De Ligt and Maguire. We've got Yoro and De Ligt.
Yeah.
I'll start off with you, Ricky, then. Who's your left-sided centre-back?
It's obvious, isn't it?
I hope it's not obvious.
It's blatantly obvious.
If you've watched the United stand before, Ricky shows it is obvious.
It's the left-sided centre-back is the only position that's absolutely nailed down. I wouldn't be surprised if it's De Ligt, Maguire and Shaw. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Yoro, Maguire and Shaw. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Yoro, De Ligt and Shaw. All of those other combinations are possible, but Luke Shaw's playing on the left.
So you think Luke Shaw, out of all of our defenders, let's just say hypothetically, Martinez comes back in the next couple of months.
Luke Shaw's the best.
You think out of every single one of our defenders, he's the best out of all of them?
He's the best player we've got. He's the best player we've got, bar none.
What I will say is I was speaking to people in pre-season, in and around the club, Mods,
Yeah.
I was, and they said to me that bar Mourinho, every single manager has walked in the door and said, Luke Shaw is world class, and Amorim said the same. His touch, the way he reads the game, everything, he's world class, which is why they're so focused on keeping him fit. So, Ricky's not pulled it from nowhere.
No, I've been saying it for ages.
His love for Luke Shaw is that strong. I even mentioned it when I was speaking to Luke Shaw myself. I had to get it in there.
I've seen a clip. I've seen that.
But do you know what? He's mad. The thing is, for me, right, Ricky's got his opinions on Luke Shaw. I'm sure the comments are going absolutely wild. Mordzs is on the other side of things. Mordzs, let's go your left-sided centre-back here.
I'm going to Aiden Heaven. Aiden Heaven. I think Aiden Heaven is
a kid in front of Luke Shaw.
I think Aiden Heaven is better than Luke Shaw. Looking back on the last time we even played Arsenal, one of our best players was Aiden Heaven. If you remember the game when we played him and Aiden Heaven started, Aiden Heaven's one of our better defenders. And I think, especially going forward, even looking at pre-season, looking at the end of last season, I know Aiden Heaven was obviously had his injuries, but I mean, definitely can't talk injuries when Luke Shaw's in the conversation.
No.
But going forward, I would rather start Aiden Heaven in the game than Luke Shaw. I don't even know what Luke Shaw's going to do. I don't know if he's going to give a 3 out of 10 or 2 out of 10, a 6 out of 10.
7, 8, 9 out of 10 every time he plays.
The end of last season, it definitely wasn't 7, 8, 9 out of 10.
He was the best player on the field in the Europa League final.
You think Luke Shaw's the best player?
And I've watched it again back. Do you want to come and join me and watch it?
No, we will do it now. We will.
He's the best player on the field.
Luke Shaw for me it's way more of a risk for me to put Luke Shaw in that team. I think he's far from being the best player.
The big risk is if he gets injured, of course. I get that.
I think he's still a liability. I even remember the Bournemouth.
If he's fit, he's top class.
I think we're past that. We passed that stage 2021, 2022. That's the last time where I looked at Luke Shaw and said, if he plays on that pitch, he's going to be top class. Since then, I've not seen a top class, consistent Luke Shaw.
Just so
Every
you know,
time I watch him, he's the best player on the field. So what game are you watching?
Right, okay. We'll do a watch along with Luke Shaw. That has to happen at one point. But we do have to move on. But what I would say is, Aiden Heaven, I think, has got so much potential for the future, and I would, if there was injuries, I would not mind him starting one bit. I think he's comfortable. I think he's great on the ball. However, I wouldn't start him there over Luke Shaw right now. Personally, if Luke Shaw's fit, the only issue for me is what's the point in investing into Luke Shaw for the season when you could be investing into Aiden Heaven when Luke Shaw inevitably is probably going to get injured.
I can answer that.
Just wait. I hope he stays fit. And if he is fit, just to put it out there, my left-sided centre-back is Luke Shaw. So I would go with Yoro, De Ligt and Luke Shaw as my starting back three. And I think Amorim will start him on the start of the season. Also, I think Aiden Heaven showed a little bit of his inexperience against Bowen in that West Ham game. He was still good though, he's still good, but everybody, has them games that they learned from. Yoro had it in that Southampton game and he's been absolutely unreal ever since and, reached the next level. What I did want to come back on Ricky on, and we're only just on the back three, but why is Lenny Yoro not in your back three? What on earth?
Crazy. Wait, so you think Luke Shaw last season was better than Lenny Yoro?
That I can't agree with.
Well, last season Luke Shaw wasn't fit out.
Well, the end of the season where he came back from injury, was he better than Lenny Yoro?
Luke Shaw is head and shoulders better than Lenny Yoro.
Yeah, this is
head
crazy.
and shoulders.
I can't do this. This is crazy.
He's our only
I can't do this.
He's our only world-class player. Yoro's an up-and-comer.
Yoro is
Yoro right now is better than. I'm not saying anything Luke Shaw's been, because Luke Shaw has been at the top of the world, so left backs. But Yoro right now, in every attribute, is better than Luke Shaw. There isn't one thing I could say other than experience, which doesn't mean anything, in my opinion, right now with Luke Shaw, because his experience
Shaw's passing's better, miles better.
No, I don't even agree with that.
His control is better.
I don't agree with that.
His touch is better.
I think Yoro's our best.
His reading of the game is the best.
I think Yoro's our best centre back.
He is.
You think he's better than Luke Shaw?
Head and shoulders.
On a consistent basis
Literally.
now, I think Luke Shaw's done more in his career, but on a consistent basis now, Yoro would, if I had to only pick Yoro or Luke Shaw to start for United, I'd pick Yoro, I think. But I do think Luke Shaw is class when he plays. He's in my team, Ricky. You've got enough from me there. Let's move on. Right, next up is wing backs. We'll go on. Okay, wing backs. This is going to be another disagreement, I can already tell.
I'll make a clip for Instagram. I'll send it to you first. In that Spurs final, Lenny Yoro did something that I wouldn't expect to see a 12-year-old centre-back do. I'll clip it up, I'll put it on Instagram and I'll send it to you.
Do you think Luke showed a better game than Lenny Yoro in that European final?
I think
Yoro booted one up in the air for no reason. He kicked one out. He dribbled it in his own box once and lost it in his own box.
He was probably a little bit nervous as it was his first final for United.
That's what is the excuses.
No. What I am saying though is any player can make mistakes in games. I watched that game and I thought Lenny Yoro and Dorgu were two of the best players.
There's one mistake. There's one mistake that I'm going to clip up.
We've got to move on.
There's one mistake that I'm going to clip up and it is inexcusable.
Right.
Luke Shaw's
doesn't count. I don't care if you're 12. Not like this. Give away penalties
not
before.
Not like this. Wait,
so
I'll show it you.
In the Europa League semi-final, or was it a quarter-final when he gave away a penalty? Was that not a mistake?
Yeah, he makes mistakes, of course.
Everyone makes mistakes, even world-class players do.
Wait while you see this clip, I'll show you.
Okay.
Right, let's move on. I think Luke Shaw's class, but he also makes mistakes the same way Yoro has done as well. But it's about how you are over the course of a game, and I think he's top. But let's move on. Right wing back, Mordzs. Quick name, because we've got to go through this quick.
Ahmad.
I would go Ahmad as well.
This is an Arsenal game, innit? I think he's going to go Dalot.
Would you go Dalot?
I'd probably risk it and go Ahmad.
You would. We love that from Ricky. A bit of risk.
I'd probably go Ahmad. I think the manager will go Dalot though. But go.
Left wing back.
Dorgu
for me. I think he's been brilliant in pre-season.
Yeah, I would personally go Dalot and Dorgu, but I think Ahmad and I would go Ahmad and Dalot. I think the manager will go Dalot and Dorgu.
Okay. Midfield 2, this is where it gets tough. Your midfield 2, Ricky?
Oh, it is tough, yeah. It is tough. My own choice.
Yeah, your own choice.
My own choice. I would go Casemiro and Manu.
It's tough.
I know Bruno's going to play again. I can say what the manager. I'm not saying what the manager's going to do. I'm saying what I'd do. I'd go Casemiro and Manu.
Because of who even the front three, I'm thinking, will our striker start? I don't know.
I'm
sorry.
That's Lenny Yoro calling you up and saying, hey, listen to me.
Sorry, Lenny, I don't rate you.
I can't cope. Mordzs.
Okay.
I'm going as if Sesko's going to start, even though he probably will.
Okay, yes, what I'm saying. Basing it off if Sesko starts for me, if he does start, then I'm going Bruno, and I'm going to have to go with Manu.
Bruno and Manu?
I'm going to have to go Bruno and Manu.
Midfield, yeah.
I'd love it. Absolutely love it. I'm going to go with, even though it pains me to say Bruno and Casemiro, I don't think I can. I think it's too slow. I'm going to go with Bruno and Ugarte, even though it's not worked before.
That to me is just, I've watched it fail too many times.
I know, but
I can't watch it fail again.
Do you know what? I might go with you. I might go Bruno and Manu.
Realistically, what I wanted to do was Manu and Ugarte, but then I just think, where am I going to put Bruno? And I kind of have to put Bruno in my team. So
maybe I'll just go with you and go Bruno and Manu. And you can't do that against Arsenal, can you? You've got to have a ball winner in there. I'm going to go with Bruno and Ugarte. That's what I'm going to do.
Tough.
It's maybe if Casemiro actually plays well, I would go with Bruno and Casemiro. But he's such a. So I suppose.
What's wrong with Casemiro and Manu?
I need Bruno in my team. I need Bruno in my team.
What's he supposed to do?
Right, I'm going to go with Bruno and Ugarte. That's what I'm going to go with. Right, our two number 10s. I think everyone's going with Cunha and Mbeumo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Cunha and Mbeumo are two number 10s, and striker, are we all going with Benjamin Sesko?
Banana Shadow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I hope to God he starts, but I think he'll come off the bench. Do you know what I think Amorim will do? I think he'll start Dalot at right wing back, like you said. I think he'll start Ahmad and have Bruno and Ahmad and have Cunha and Mbeumo kind of rotating in the 10s like he did against Everton.
Yeah.
But he can't do that every game. Once Sesko's fit enough to start, he's got to play him. So it's going to be interesting to see how he changes it up.
But what if he puts Cunha further forward, which he did in pre-season, puts Ahmad and Mbeumo, and then puts Ahmad in right wing back, Bruno and Mbeumo, and then Manu and Ugarte.
He might do that, but then when Sesko's fit, he's 66.4 million, he's playing.
No, he will play, but it just means that one of the midfielders have to just come out.
It'll be interesting anyway. Anyway, that's our 11s. We got there in the end with a little bit of arguments along the way. I'm sure there could have been more, but we do have to move on. Yeah. Next up, very juicy question. Of course, we don't know how things are going to pan out. We can only hope. The next one, and I'll start with Mordzs on this. Where do you think Manchester United will finish in the Premier League this season?
Okay, I'm basing it off nobody makes any more signings. including like Isak and all them guys. I'm assuming that nobody moves from today.
There's going to be bits and pieces, but you
There'll be
can
little
kind
bits
of
and pieces,
infer
but-
that Isak will go. Newcastle will probably end up with a striker. Who knows if it'll be 20th on their list at this point.
Yeah,
But we will get there. But there'll be a little bits and bobs. Like Garnacho will probably go Chelsea, stuff like that.
Won't make a difference. I'm going to put United in 6th.
Sixth.
I'm going to put United in 6th. It was a toss between 5th and 6th. But because there's about 8 teams that could probably get 5th or 6th right now. You got your Brightons, you got your Newcastles, Aston Villas, etc. Tottenham's even, that could all jump in that 5th or 6th position. So I've got United just missing out in that 5th position and getting 6th. However, if we make another big signing, 100% getting 5th.
What happens if we sign a midfielder?
If we sign Belabor, forget midfielder. If we sign Belabor, we're getting 5th or 4th. I'm debating 4th, but 5th, I'm confident on.
Ryan's asking for where's the 21 prediction.
You never know.
If we beat Arsenal opening day, you'll change it.
Yeah, literally.
Ricky?
I fancy we'll finish about the same, 5th to 6th, so we'll probably go.
Got optimism here.
I'll probably go 6th.
I've got optimism. I think we will finish 5th. God. Why do I do this to myself? I think we'll finish 5th. If we get a midfielder, there is no excuse for Amorim not to finish top 4.
There is.
There's not, apart from maybe Onana.
It's other teams.
Liverpool, City, Arsenal and Chelsea. They're all perfect excuses for you not to finish in the top 4.
But
They're all good
team-
teams, aren't they? There's no real reason why we should finish
But
above
how does that team get better?
our team.
Our team.
Yeah, if you get a keeper and Belabor in, I mean, I don't think we'll get a keeper at this point. But if you did, like, that is the perfect team in my
There is
opinion.
still uncertainties in the team. Sesko's still an uncertainty.
That's true.
Dorku's still a bit of an uncertainty. The midfield's still an uncertainty.
Loro and Heaven as
With-
well in your
with
team
Belabor
are
in
big
there.
uncertainties.
yeah, there's still a bit of
When we play against the best teams,
That's
you
true.
know,
There
usually-
is some big competition
we
in
need
the
centre
Prem.
backs like Arsenal centre backs.
And also experience as well. We don't actually have, like, how many players are winners? Like, real, like, they've won a league. Like,
Arsenal aren't winners yet, they're still up there.
they've not won.
I know, but they're up there in
you know
top
what I mean?
4. I'm
So-
not saying to win,
Yeah.
I'm saying top 4. Because if you think about it, in my opinion, Liverpool are absolutely going to be up there, City are absolutely going to be up there. They're 2 that are basically nailed on. Arsenal, right? I know you can't say much of pre-season, but they look a little bit iffy.
Yeah, I
They
agree.
do.
Yeah.
So they're not an absolute certainty. Newcastle, with Champions League football and not making the signings that they'd want to make and losing Isak, are not an absolute certainty.
And what about the world champions? They're going to do all right, aren't they?
Chelsea are going to do. I forgot about Chelsea. Okay, so there's basically one spot. In my opinion, there's basically one spot, and even that Arsenal has still got to be. You've got to respect them being in around there. It's tough.
Surely they've got to be in the top
It's tough.
5,
At the end of the
Arsenal,
day,
at least.
at the end of the day,
Yeah,
though,
sure.
we'll have spent a lot of money. We've got Cunha and Mbeumo, who were 2 of the best performers in the Premier League. You've got Sesko in, who was Arsenal's first choice striker and chased by all the top clubs, and we paid a decent amount of money for. If you then get a world-class, well, the potential to be a world-class midfielder in, like, and you spend nearly 100 million on one, like, you've got to set expectations for Champions League.
But my thing is with that, I agree, but it actually all just comes down to the manager now. Because you can have the best players in the world, if your manager don't know what he's doing, it's not going to work.
That's why I said Amorim's got to kind of shape,
So
like, he's got to deliver.
It comes down to Amorim, because even then, like, right now, have we seen this system work consecutively? No. We've seen it work for a few games here and there in the Europa League and some games in the league. We haven't seen it work like 10 games in a row. We haven't seen that yet. So even if you're going to bring in 6 great players, until I see it work like on a regular basis every single week, then I can have a bit more confidence to say, okay, yeah, we can go and push that top 4.
Amorim's so good at talking, though, that based on all of his interviews he's done, I'm sold.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's so good at speaking, but he's got to put it into action, hasn't he? He has. Yeah. And I think pre-season we've looked a lot better. You can see the pressing's better. You can see the counter-pressing's better. You can see that the United players are way more in sync with each other on the same wavelength. They've done a lot of team building stuff, but they've got to put it into action in the Premier League, and it is going to be tough because it's, in my opinion, the toughest league in the world. Yep. Ricky will say it's Serie A, though. Anyway, we move on to the next question. How far will we go in the League Cup and FA Cup?
These are tough to debate.
It's just a little
I
prediction.
know it's a bit of fun, but obviously you don't know who you're going to draw. We might draw Liverpool away in the first round, might we? You know what I mean? And probably, you never know, but you'd probably go out. So it's a look of the draw in it. So I'll just have a stab at it that we'll get to the quarter final of both cups.
I think we'll win a cup.
I think we'll win the FA Cup this year.
I think we'll win a cup as well. Yeah, and to be fair, we have actually got a longer cup run because we finished 15th, so we kind of have to play more games beforehand. So I think we'll have a good run, and I think because we're not in Europe as well, we can rotate better for the FA Cup. So I think that could probably help us in our favour. So yeah, I think we could
It
potentially
won't help us in the FA Cup, will it, though, Martin? When you say rotate better, that usually means that you're resting some players in the cup in order to keep them fit for the league.
No,
so if we're going to rotate, that means we might get knocked out, don't it?
No, as in like, because last year we were in Europe, we played so many European games.
More games.
Way more games to rotate our players in. So then because we've got less
we're
games.
We're not going to rotate in the FA Cup.
Yeah,
that's
what
I mean.
Sorry.
It means you won't have to rotate the team as much, basically.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Amorim's going to go super strong in the cups because we've not got Europe. We have to.
Yeah.
Even if you get Liverpool away, okay, it's a tough game, but we're still capable of doing something. We were even that season where we were super poor under Ten Hag, we managed to beat Liverpool in the FA Cup. I know it was at Old Trafford. It was a crazy game, but things can happen. So
Did we draw with Liverpool twice in the league last season?
Yeah.
I think we did, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
And that's even with that team. With Bruno in it.
Oh,
go on, sorry, go on.
Nah, you're allowed your opinion.
Even with that team.
You're allowed your opinion. People, it is a debate. It is a debate. As much as, I've been a big Bruno fan, me and Mordzs both have. Like, there is a question of how do you fit Mainu and Bruno in this team. People rate Mainu so highly. It is a tough decision. Like, it's a big debate to be had. Yeah. I wish we could fit both of them in. I just think we'd struggle defensively. But let's see. Okay, next one. We've kind of talked about this. But what would you consider a successful season for United?
A successful season?
Right now.
I assume the top 5 will get Champions League because that's not nailed on until you see how teams are doing.
Not nailed on, but you'd like to.
But if you think it's top, I would say top 5 would be successful.
I think that's really successful. I think that's like above and beyond compared to what we did last season.
Well, you've just said you expect us to finish 5th or 6th.
Yeah, that's me being very, very optimistic. That's me being very, very optimistic. You forget we did finish 15th. We haven't actually proven that we can play football yet.
This guy on WhatsApp, on Twitter, he's saying 21's coming. As soon as the camera's in his face, he gets real.
Don't listen to my Twitter. My Twitter just lies. But
I would say a really successful season would be top 5. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, that's a really successful season. I think for me the main thing is being able to prove that this system works. Like if we can go out and week in, week out, and we're putting in good performances, we might obviously not going to win every single game. But if we can go out and put in good performances and actually compete against every single team in the Premier League, then that to me is successful because realistically we're not going to win the league this year. Realistically we might not win next year, but if we can prove that it's working, then that's success compared to last season.
The word coming out of United is the aim is European football.
They've
not said Champions League, they've not said Europa, they've said the aim is European football. I think United, I think Conference League is out the question because in my opinion, I don't respect it as highly as I do the Europa League and the Champions League. As much as, if the team's in it, if you win it, brilliant. But personally for me, I think the better competitions is the Europa League and the Champions League. I think United as a leadership group would be happy with the Europa League next season, and I can understand that coming from 15th. I personally would, if we push all the way for a Champions League spot and we end up 6th with the Europa League, I would take that as a big improvement from 15th.
Yeah.
I would agree with that, but you can't just rule out the conference because you're going to try and finish as high as you can, and is it not 7th and 8th or 8th?
Yeah.
Depends on who wins the cups, who finish above you, and all sorts of stuff like that.
There's 9 teams
you're not in control of that really, and you're going to finish as high as you can, and if you finish 7th, you might end up in the conference. If you finish 8th, you might end up in the conference, and 7th and 8th might be a little bit more realistic than what we're saying, 5th or 6th. You know what I mean?
If you win the Europa League, like I said, we will. You automatically get Europa League football. Exactly. So let's see. Okay, next up we're going on to individual awards and performers. So, and predictions based on what you've seen and based on what you think. Who will be Manchester United's player of the season?
Lenny Euro.
She's going to say Luke Shaw.
I genuinely have Lenny Euro. I put it in a group chat the other day. I have Lenny Euro being our player of the season. I think he's going to have the most consistent performances throughout the season, and I think he's going to start most games. I'm taking away any kind of injuries because it's not really fair to predict a player's going to get injured. But I think for a player who's going to play most of the games, he's going to have a consistent 7 out of 10 minimum in most games going through the season. I think he's going to be our player of the season.
Well, I hope it's not a defender who gets the I'm not going to go Luke Shaw. I think he's a better player and I think he'll play all the time if he's fit, but I'm not going to go Luke Shaw just to go against Lenny Euro. I would hope that it's a striker who's going to get our player of the season for obvious reasons. It means we're flying, I think. So I'm hoping that Sesko is the player of the season.
Fair enough.
I like that shout from Ricky. Mine, I've been thinking about this. I nearly went Bruno just because he always gets it. But I think this year, with the new signings we've brought in and the development that I've seen from some other players, I think Lenior is a really good shout. Sesko, I would love it to be him. I am going to go with, though, Ahmad.
Ooh, great
I think
shout.
Ahmad might get it.
The difficulty is getting him in the team at the minute, and I love him, by the way.
I think he'll play.
I love him. I won't be surprised if he forces himself into that front three, whether he might play ahead of Kuna quite often. Do you know what I mean?
It was a toss-up
He's a
for me
top player.
It was a toss-up for me between Mbumo and Ahmad, and I'm not ruling Cunha out because Cunha also looks like a really good player. But people might say I'm getting carried away. I watched a lot of Mbumo at Brentford, and I watched him for that little cameo against Everton, and obviously other games as well. He is a serious player.
Yeah.
So it's going to be them two competing on the right hand side, or even them playing together. Though you've seen them play together in these pre-season games. They're such a good pairing together. Like the intelligent footballers.
My only thing with Ahmad is I agree. I think he will get into every team. I think he will start pretty much nearly every game. But when we predicted the starting 11, I feel like Dallow's going to get opportunities a lot, and he's not just going to sit on the bench and play 30 minutes a game. I think there will be games where Amorim will drop Ahmad and play a Dallow instead of him, just because of defensive.
What he could do, I do agree with you. I do agree with you, Mordzs. But what he could do to mix it up is if Ahmad's playing as a right wing back in a couple of games and you've got a settled front three, and say he decides to play Dalot, or it might be Dorgu who's out of the team, it might be Dalot on the left, won't surprise me one bit. He could bring Dorgu in for the game, he could put Dalot to the right, but just because the others have already played 3 or 4 games, Ahmad might get a game at 10 then.
I agree.
You might find Kuna on the bench.
I agree.
The only thing I'll say is that I feel like we have more 10s than we have wing backs. So if Ahmad was to get taken out for Dalot, Mount might jump in, Xerxes might jump in, Mainey might go in there, Bruno might go in there. So there's a lot more attacking options that we have going forward, especially if Hoyland stays. Yeah. That's another striker that's going to play.
You just mentioned Mason Mount. I think he was superb on the tour for me. And
I thought he was really good too. I really did.
Yeah.
But do you know what I think Mount's going to be for us?
Super sub.
Yeah, exactly. He's obviously had a lot of injury issues. I think him himself probably won't want to be playing. Obviously, a football player always wants to play, and he's got a top mentality. We know that. But him himself, I think, would be quite comfortable while he's getting his rhythm back, which he still is after having so much time out, as being that super sub. I think it works for him. I think asking him to do 90 minutes week in, week out is just not going to happen. I think the way to help him on his injury issues is having him as that super sub. And how good is it to see you bringing Mason Mount off the bench than other look at the bench we named against Spurs last season. Like, we've named some poor benches over the last couple of years, and to have actually good players that you could consider starting 11 players coming off the bench, it gives the opposition team stuff to think about later on in the game as well, and it gives us that boost. So I agree with you. I thought Mount was really good in pre-season, and it's going to give a headache for Amorim, which is exactly what you want, and it keeps Cunha thinking, I need to perform, or else Mason Mount's there, and other forward players as well.
And one thing I will say, I agree on that, but in terms of Bruno, as much as I love Bruno, I don't think he's going to have nearly half as good of a season than last season, because I feel like the pressure is so much pressure has been taken off him now, because we've got 2 amazing 10s who play in his preferred position. He's not gonna get nearly almost as many goals that he got last season, because he's not gonna have to be carrying that department. Naturally, these guys are a lot more creative as well with Mbumo and Cunha, so he's not gonna have to be forced to do that role. And especially if we do go and get another midfielder who is better than him, because right now, let's be honest, he's the only, in my opinion anyway, he's the only name that I could say will definitely start in that midfield. If we go and get a Baleba will be the first name in that midfield, not Bruno. So in my opinion, I'm not saying he's going to be bad, but I feel like compared to last season, how much he had to do and how much he kind of carried us, I don't think he's going to have to do nearly half as much as this season.
Should have carried us a bit further when we finished 15th.
He could play with Baleba though, and I think that's what a lot of people are expecting. But also, I think Baleba and Mainu would be brilliant together, and I think Mainu's Bruno's successor in that midfield personally. But
possibly, yeah.
Let's move on to the next prediction, which I think Ricky will answer in a similar way. Who's your prediction for top goal scorer?
Sesko.
Oh, that's difficult, I want to say Sesko, but I'm not seeing him properly in Premier League yet, so I'm not sure. I'm going to say Mbumo.
Mine was between Sesko and Mbumo. I'd love to say Sesko, but I think I'm going to go Mbumo as well, just because I think Sesko will play a lot of games, but I think, he will be rotated with Xerxes. And I think...
You think?
I think he'll play the majority of the games. I think he'll be the first team striker, but I still think Xerxes will get minutes.
Yeah,
and I think you've got to think he's
Xerxes is better as a 10 now as well. Xerxes might come on for Mbuemo more than he comes off for Xerxes.
I actually think.
Could easily happen.
I actually think Xerxes can do well as a striker with the likes of Ahmad and Dorgu running on as a wing backs and the likes of Mbuemo running off him as well. I think people are underrating Xerxes. I think he'll do well this season when he gets minutes, but injuries have concerned me a bit. But I would go Sesko, like you. I want it to be Sesko because you want your striker to be top scorer. But Mbumo's got that Premier League record from last season, and Sesko will need time to adjust to the Prem. But let's see. Next one, who will be the highest assist this season?
Oh, that's a tricky one. How can you guess that?
I'm still going to go Bruno.
I'll go...
Corners. Free kicks.
Yeah, I'm going to hope that Bruno's not in the team after the show. So he can't take him if he's sat on the bench, can he? You know what I mean? I think I'm going to go Ahmad.
I'm going to go Bruno as well.
Yeah, it's Bruno.
I do.
He just tries the most. So I feel like just the law of averages. The law of averages, you try the most, you're probably going to get the highest number. So I'm going to say Bruno.
Who do you think is going to be United's breakout star this season? It can be someone stepping up in the current team, someone who maybe didn't have a great season last season, but you think is going to step up, someone from the youth. Like, who do you think is going to be the breakout star? Mordzs, I'll start with you.
I got Dorgu. I think Dorgu was very much underrated last season, based on the fact that he just didn't hit the ground running, which he wasn't never going to do that anyway. Like, naturally, it's a very difficult position for him to come into this team in January when we're already struggling. He was always going to be a slow start, but I think near the end of the season, people realised the qualities that Dorgu had. Looking at pre-season as well, I think he's one of our better players. I think he's got a lot of talent that he can build on, and I think both sides. I think the right-hand side is a bit stronger because of Mbumo, Ahmad, but I think we're really underrated what Dorgu can do. So I've got him being like a breakout star almost.
Am I allowed to say Mainu because he wasn't in the team a lot? Yeah, I'll say. I think Mainu's going to have a great season. Yeah, I'll say Mainu.
Mainu, I like that. I was stuck between two. I think Dorgu is a pretty obvious one, and I was going to go for him, but because Mordzs said him, I'm going to mention another player. I think Xerxes will do a lot better than what people think.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think he'll always start, but I think if he can stay fit, he looked really promising towards the back end of last season. I think people forgot about that, just because we signed Sesko now, which I think we definitely needed to sign a striker, but I do think he's versatile and he was looking good towards the back end of last season.
I'd like to see Toby Collier get a lot more games. Is he staying or is he going on loan? I'd like him to play a lot more, but anyway.
I also would like, this is just what I'd like, but I'm not 100% confident in it, I'd like Ugarte to step up this season. Because obviously we paid a decent amount of money for him. And I do think with Ugarte it's really difficult because some games he's brilliant and you think, oh, you know what, yeah, he'll do well. He's in my midfield. And then some games, he just has a bad one, doesn't he? So it's like, he's inconsistent. I'd like him to get a few really good games under his belt. And I do think there's a player in there. You've just got to balance the team right with him. Next one is, which new signing do you think will have the biggest impact?
Ooh, that's a good shout. I mean, I've already said Sesko for top scorer, so if he is the top scorer, really that goes hand in hand, doesn't it? So I shouldn't really change.
It's not all about who scores the goals,
It isn't about who scores the goals, but that's what people think of, innit? The impact, and people think about goal scorers and assisters. But I've been really, really impressed with Mbuemo at the minute. So if I can go differently, I'll go Sesko top scorer, but I'll go Mbuemo for the, what did you just ask me there? The biggest impact from one of the new players.
I'm going to Mbuemo as well.
Mbuemo, in fact, might get more goal involvements. He might get more assists than Sesko, and nearly as many goals. So I'll go Mbuemo.
Yeah. I'm going Belieber.
I like it.
Oh no! Based on who we've got right now, I'm going to go with Mbuemo as well. Yeah, I think we all. We're not leaving Cunha out. I do think he'll be a good signing. I really do. I like them both, but you've got to pick one, and I really do like the look of Mbuemo so far. Next one I have is, I mean, we've sort of done that with Breakout Star. I did have which player do you think will surprise people most this season, but I think we've already kind of covered that. My next one I'm going to do is we're going to move on to, before I do just like wildcard predictions to kind of finish us off, I'm going to go with which area of the pitch do you still think needs strengthening going into the season?
I think it's obvious.
I'm going to say centre-back. I don't think we've got enough good
This man.
centre. I don't think we've got
You have to
enough.
say that.
I don't think we've got enough really top class centre backs, like the two Arsenal centre backs, for example.
Gabriel and Saliba.
And like Van Dijk. You know what I mean? Really, really top class centre backs. Like, I think. I mean, he's not even. You know, it's not even genuinely. He might not be fit, Luke Shaw, but he's our best centre back.
I think De Ligt.
He's our best centre back by a country mile.
I think De Ligt can definitely step up.
No, it's nowhere near that level. It's nowhere near that level. Yoro's nowhere near that level.
I think they
Not
can be.
the
What
top,
has
top
Luke
place.
Shaw done to prove that he's that level? Like, what has he won? What has he done for you to say, like, you know what, yeah, Luke Shaw is
We're not starting this.
I've just got to watch him play. Just got to watch him play, that's all.
Right.
So when you're building a team, you've got to look at players, no matter what they've played, wherever they've played, and, you know, you've just got to decide, right, there's a player who's good enough, that's something to build on. And look, he'll probably get injured, I know that, but I'll be gutted if and when he does. But if he remains fit, that's the one constant, and you will find that this will happen. Trust me, you will find that this will happen. If he's fit, he'll be the one constant, and the others will be getting subbed and changed around, etc. He's the one centre back, and I'm not going to say he's at the same level as the Arsenal centre backs. But say we had Arsenal's two. We play with three centre backs, don't we?
Yeah.
If we had Arsenal's two centre backs and Luke Shaw to the left, that would put us in a league title challenging race.
Not because of
but
Luke
these
Shaw,
but these two centre backs are miles better than all of our centre backs. And Luke Shaw's our best centre back, and he happens to play on the left. That'd be absolutely phenomenal. So you need to realise who the best players are, and it's not just fans. The management have been getting this wrong for years. Anthony Elanga. And, you know, then dozens, McTominay, you know, they've all been getting it wrong. They've all been getting it wrong.
What I would say is you've got to remember, Lenny Yoro's 19-20, De Ligt's 25, still young for a centre-back. I do genuinely think that they have the ability to step up. I don't think they're at the level of them yet at all, like you say, but I do think they've got potential in them.
I think all three of them are better than Luke Shaw.
But anyway, we've had a lot of Luke Shaw debates. Where do you think he's strengthening, Mordzs?
The midfield. I think that's kind of the obvious place. We don't even have two secure players there, and that's probably the most important part of any team, your midfield. And we talk about all the time anyway in football, like in today's modern game, that midfield three is probably the most important thing. If you can get that right, if you can get a good DM, a good 8, or even if it's a double pivot or whatever it is, and a good 10, you've got that structure in the middle of your pitch, which is like an engine almost for the rest of the team. We don't have that at all. And because we're playing with two players, we spoke about it in the group chat the other day, because we're playing with two players, it makes
They have to be perfect.
They have to be perfect. They have to be able to do everything. Like a Baleba, you've got to be able to pass, you've got to be able to shoot, or be able to dribble, carry it out from the back, defend, intercept, be press resistant. You have to have two players that can more or less do 3 jobs. And we don't have any players that can do that.
Amorim would have loved Kante.
Literally.
Do you when you see them memes where it's like, when it's before their time, so it's like, this person would have loved that. But Amorim would have loved N'Golo Kante if he was around.
Yeah, but I think it's difficult to even find players that can even perfect that position to this level. You can find players that can play there. Like, we've seen Manu and Ugarte have great games together.
But it's not a consistent basis.
It's not a consistent basis. And can you do it to the highest level to win a Premier League, to win a Champions League?
Against every type of team.
Exactly.
Like, Everton was a stumbling block because they're a big physical side.
I agree with all that. I do agree with all that, what you've said. But even more important is your centre-backs. They're the most important players in your team. Start from the back. You build your team from the back. Your centre-backs are the keeper and the centre-backs. Get that right, you've got a basis for the team. And our centre-backs are not quite at the level of the centre-backs of the top teams.
Can I just come in on this?
Go on.
Speaking of the defence in general, starting from the back, people would say keeper. My first choice is a midfielder. I think Ricky can come in on this in a second, but I think games are won and lost in the midfield. I think it's the most important area on the pitch, personally. I think, you've seen the likes of Inter get to a Champions League final with Onana. Tull was speaking in the forum chat before saying that Liverpool got to a Champions League final with Kelleher. Granted, he messed it up for them, but they got there. Onana is a liability, but personally for me, I do want a keeper. That would be next on my list. But personally for me, a midfielder is so important to be in there because of all the reasons that Mordzs said, so I won't repeat it. Ricky, I understand your opinion's your opinion. You talk about the centre-backs, but United last season actually had a good defensive record. It was the attack that lacked. Our defensive record was up there.
The defensive record was fine, but that's not just because of the defenders. That's a team game, and the team defended well. The shape of the team was better. If we need,
But that's the same for every single team.
it's the
Like
same for every
Arsenal have a
single
great
team.
defensive
Of
shape,
course they
not
have,
just
of
the
course they have,
defenders.
of course they have, without a doubt. But even though our defensive record was fine, you call it the eye test, don't you? I've only got to watch the game and I can see that our centre-backs are not at the level of Arsenal centre-backs.
Well, we need to move on,
Not
guys.
at that level.
Okay, we'll move on.
We need to move on. We can discuss it as the season begins because we're not going to sign a centre-back. We're not. So let's see if they are good enough. I think they will be. Mordzs thinks they will be. Ricky
Good
doesn't.
enough for what, though? Good enough. It's all right saying they'll be good enough.
Good enough to compete the way that we want them to. Right, next up.
Good enough
These
for
are
eight.
just one-word answers, okay, guys?
Yeah.
One-word answers for
Okay.
these next set. And it's just a bit of fun so we can revisit it. Who's going to be the first United player to get a red card this season?
Casemiro. Or Bruno.
Bruno.
I'd probably say Bruno as well. As much as I love him, he gets... Oh, maybe Cunha, you know. He's got a track record for him.
That's true.
What United player will get the most yellow cards?
You got it.
Ugarte.
I'll go Ugarte as well.
Maybe Lenny Yoro, he likes a yellow card as well.
That's assuming Ugarte plays a lot.
Who will score the first goal of the season?
Bruno penalty. I see it coming already.
I'll go with Mbeumo as well. Next up is one player you wouldn't sell for any price this season.
Aside from the new signings, I'm not assuming.
Yeah.
Any price, Lenny Euro.
Look,
There's no
he's
way
not
you're
even
gonna
played yet, but I'd have to say Sesko.
Aside from the new signings.
Aside from the new signings.
Oh, aside from the new signings, you say. Sorry. I'd probably go Manu.
Yeah.
I like that one. I would also go, I'd probably go Ahmad.
I forgot about Ahmad.
Ahmad.
My mind's not fast enough these days. I'd even put Ahmad ahead of Manu.
I'll go to you this one, Ricky. One player you would sell tomorrow if you could.
Bruno. Imagine getting 100 million for him.
If you could buy the label.
Mordzs.
What was it? One player.
Player you would sell tomorrow if you could.
No.
I'd go with Casemiro, bring in the money for his weekly wages, bring in the money for Belabor. Absolute legend of the game. I think he's had a fantastic career and I think he's been disrespected a lot. He's a fantastic CDM, but I think it's time to move him on. And the only reason he's probably still staying for another year is because we can't on his wages. So for me, it would be Casemiro. Who finishes higher this season, United or Arsenal?
I'm genuinely saying this. If we get Belabor, United.
Can't just keep saying if we get Belabor.
But that's a big addition. Like that's like game. That's like game
Should I be
changing.
shameless?
If we get Belabor,
go,
I don't think it's conversation.
I'd say Arsenal finish above us. They've got great centre-backs.
Do you know what? Because I don't want to get absolutely like clipped to death and bantered by Arsenal fans all across Twitter and the season, I will still say, I'll give them the respect to say I think they will finish higher than us. But like Mordzs says, if we get Belabor, we're finishing higher than them. Also, I know pre-season isn't much to go by, but they've got some new signings that have got to settle in. I'm not sure Gyökeres is going to hit the ground running for them. They've also got European football. I think there's big pressure on that team and Arteta this season to win something because of how long it's been now with them not winning. I think United could. I think they could. They could. That's all I'm saying. Is Amorim still the manager sitting here a year tomorrow?
Yes.
Sorry, a year today.
Yeah.
He is still the manager?
Yeah, definitely.
So he's going to keep his job all season?
Yeah.
I think he will as well. I mean, the last one isn't really much to go by because I think I know all your answer. But if you could pick between winning a trophy this season or getting Champions League football, what would you pick?
Champions League. Has to be.
I've got it to have to say it, but I'd say Champions League, yeah.
I was going to say, I love a trip to Wembley, but it's
So
got to be Champions League just for the future of the club and the money. And, you know, just getting Champions League nights back at Old Trafford would be absolutely unbelievable. Well, that is the show wrapped up, everyone. That's all the predictions in.
We could definitely wait for longer, though. I've got some more debates.
You've got any last words? You've got your last words?
No, I just think we're going to beat Arsenal, that's it.
Oh, yeah, let's give a score prediction, actually. Score prediction against Arsenal at Old Trafford. Ricky?
2-2.
I'm going to say 2-1 United.
Oh, you're right.
2-1 United. I think Bruno will get a penalty, and one of the new signings will get a goal.
I'm going to run it back. 3-1 United at Old Trafford.
Ooh.
Ryan's saying his prediction's 8-2. Right. You want to get involved, don't you? I'm going with 3-1 United. Let's have it.
Yep.
Guys, I'm so excited. I can't wait for the season to begin. Everyone, make sure you get down in the comments as well down below your predictions. We've just done a load there. Give us your hot takes. Give us your predictions. What do you think about Ricky's Luke Shaw shout? What do you think about Mordzs' shouts about Lenny Yoro? All the other stuff in between. Who's going to be the best signing? Where United going to finish? How do you think Amorim's going to get on? Do you think Amorim's going to be successful? Do you guys?
Yes.
Hopefully, yeah.
Optimistic. We're optimistic here at the United Stand. I think he will be. Let's have an absolutely cracking season, everyone. I cannot wait. We're now off to Ricky's house to do a Luke Shaw watch along. Can't wait. We'll see you on the next one, everyone.